yeah.
Love that video.
Awesome.
I need that jacket that she's wearing.
Right? I need that jacket.
Like, we all need that jacket.
Right.
I don't know.
Konstanza, if you watch this later, we need details.
Yeah,
right.
CJ, you can pull it off. You have the pink aesthetic on there, or the jacket. You just gotta dazzle it up, put some sparkles.
I think I need to, honestly.
I do have like a disco ball cup over here.
I guess that's
pretty awesome.
So CJ, we should talk about your music video. I know that's very retro flavored. Can you tell us about it?
Oof. All right. So the point of, or I guess the story behind this music video is basically basically it's we're going for like an 80s sort of vibe, and we're going for like a video game kind of vibe. The concept behind the new album is that it's like a soundtrack for like an SNES game that came out in like the late 80s. But in the video, actually, it's kind of like that classic Aha video where they get pulled into like the I think it's like the black and white like artist world, but you're actually getting pulled into like the pixelated like video game world in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great video. It's super cool. It just came out today officially.
Yep. Today's the day.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, let's pop it up. Not the music video, but we got to pop up the cover.
The album.
Boom! Crystal ball.
So yeah.
So CJ, if you looked at a crystal ball right now, what would you see in that globe?
Man, I think if I looked at a crystal ball right now, I would probably hopefully see some shows happening soon in the future. Live music kind of coming back again. We've actually started booking some stuff. We're looking at doing a little touring this summer. Planning on getting back in the studio to finish this album that I'm talking about. And overall, just kind of getting back to business as usual for live music and all that stuff, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did you work in the virtual world and not having to be able to do live gigs?
Honestly, it was really, it's been tough. It's been a weird year. It's really hard to kind of keep the ideas fresh and kind of keep things going when you're not constantly in front of a crowd getting feedback like that. I've kind of refocused and been doing a lot of just writing on my computer and doing home demos and stuff like that. As for like the band management side, we've been kind of working on more like licensing and stuff, getting our music in like commercials and movies and that sort of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a great sound. It's different than your previous songs and tracks, so it's a really awesome video that you guys have put together. And how did you get the video all set up together? Was some of it digital, and then some of it was you guys just running around a store? Or?
Yeah, so we went to a video game store and did a lot of the shooting, and then a lot of it is actually at a friend of mine's house who has this really cool kind of like synthwave, vaporwave like aesthetic for his house. And then we hired an artist to do like the digital animation for like the pixelated part. And we had this really awesome company, Yellow Box Films. They put everything together. They did all the shooting and all that. And yeah, it came together great.
Yeah, it did. It's an awesome video.
Yeah.
There's his dog. Look, there's his Monty.
This is Tildy. She's wondering who I'm talking to.
Hi.
Nice.
She woke up from her nap.
Yep. I don't know if you heard her snoring earlier.
No.
We missed it. All right. So on that note, we're going to play your music video, Crystal Ball. So if everyone likes Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, and I guess kind of a love story, this is the video for you.
It's the one.
broken smile I can't forget. Hazy memories inside a crystal ball. Another rendezvous for me to fall. Say that you love me, say that you won't let go. We're losing control. I'm losing control. Whoa. The way that you love me, way that you won't let go. I'm losing control. I'm losing control. Whoa. When I hear the church bells, I can't forget. Another broken heart I won't regret. Hazy memories inside a crystal ball. Another rendezvous for us to fall. Say that you love me, say that you won't let go. We're losing control. I'm losing control. Whoa. The way that you love me, way that you won't let go. We're losing control. I'm losing control. Say that you love me, say that you won't let go. We're losing control. I'm losing control. Whoa. The way that you love me, way that you won't let go. We're losing control. I'm losing control. I'm losing control.
All right, another great music video. And now I have the absolute pleasure of bringing in the founders of Aztec Records. I have Lau and Ariel on with me now. Hey,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Good,
Very good,
thanks. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you
All
so
good.
much for joining us. So you two are the ones that started Aztec Records as a label. So you've known each other for such a long time, I'm assuming, and you've also worked together musically.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, we
So
met
how did you meet and get everything? How did you meet?
12 years ago, around 12 years ago, I guess, through a rehearsal studio, actually. I was looking for a drummer. Laura was around. We met. She started playing in a band that I had at the time with another Argentinian. And in London. All this was in London. And soon after we decided to join forces. Laura knows a lot of people from her performing career and session drama. And we decided to start working with our friends, people that made music and didn't have an outlet for it.
Yeah. Well, we realized we had the same kind of taste in music. We loved, synth pop and just good pop music and electronic music. And we just started signing artists that were around us, friend of ours, and the label started growing. But that was, I think, about 12 years ago, a long time.
So going from the beginning over a decade ago to now, you now have about 40 artists signed to Aztec Records. That's amazing. And such wonderful artists, and I mean, I'm just blown away by the artists that you guys have now. So, what are you working on now as the label has progressed with your artists? your newest signings. Can you tell us about those?
Well, we're really excited to be constantly finding new talent, to develop and nurture that talent. That's kind of what we do best. We really love the music we put out. We're big fans of all our artists. We work with them very closely to help them, in any way we can to bring sort of their dream, into reality. But we're just really excited to keep growing and keep giving the synth community good music. We have a very supportive fan base that really they know, they've seen our journey, how we got bigger and bigger, and we just recently opened a Latin American branch to do the same thing but in Spanish. So we've signed about 5 or 6 acts, and we're growing that as well. So it's really exciting.
Yeah,
I don't know, it doesn't feel like a job, we love it.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and especially having known each other for the amount of time that you have, and having the similar taste in the music that you are able to hear like every day. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I guess the label found its sound. I would say 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. We were releasing. We were kind of trying to find it, and it is true that you just need to be true to yourself. And when we started working with the music that we actually loved and we got really excited about it, when things started to take off. And actually during the pandemic last year was when the big jump happened. And yeah, we're very grateful to the artists that trust us, really, because we're just facilitators. We're just kind of like helping to make this music, to get this music across, but the other creators. So, well, Laura's both.
Yeah,
I'm both.
Yeah.
And speaking of being true to yourself, Laura, you have just recently released your first album, the Believer album. Can you tell me about the writing process and how long it took you to execute the album? I'm assuming you did most of the production yourself and all of the drumming and everything.
I collaborate with amazing producers all around the world, from America to the UK to France. I add synths and I add drums, into my songs. But I also trust the producers to do, the best they can. And it's a very personal album. It's my debut album, very important for me after over 20 years in the music industry, playing for other artists, writing for other artists, launching other artists. Finally, I'm putting all that work into my own craft, and it's very rewarding. The album was written during the 10 months that I was sort of locked in my studio in London during the pandemic last year, going through a massive breakup at the same time, and just finding myself again, trying to find my voice and myself as an artist. Who is Lau? Who is this person that is always behind all these other projects? So for me, it was quite a big step and quite scary to suddenly open up and show my voice and my lyrics. Very personal, but it's been great. I think it's the best thing I've ever done, to be honest. It's been fantastic.
You should be very proud of it, because it's a fantastic record, and I think you have an amazing voice, and just your talents are just amazing. So I'm glad.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're gonna.
I'm so proud of my sister. She's amazing. I love her.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
So
it's been a journey.
Are you going to be? I know you're already working on another album, right? And you've done collaborations. You've been busy, very busy, keeping busy. So do you plan to work when you're able to for the album?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm starting rehearsals actually in a couple of weeks here in Barcelona. I've got 2 amazing musicians that are going to be on the road with me. But it takes time to get that show together, especially during pandemic. But we're hoping to play some shows during the summer here in Spain, and hopefully go and play some shows in South America at some point. I'm not thinking of any other countries at the moment because of the pandemic. I'm not really thinking of a European tour or an American tour right now, but hopefully next year. But in the meantime, I decided to. Oh, that's a nice mug.
That's a nice mug.
I actually,
Brilliant.
I actually borrowed this from Eddie and never gave it back because it's
brilliant. We'll send you another one.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll send you another one. So yeah, the collaborations came up as a, what to do in between promoting an album and doing all the press and all the stuff you got to do to promote an album. But I don't want to stop writing. I want to carry on, and we are signing some amazing producers and amazing singers, and of course I hear the music and I get inspired, and they want to collaborate with me too, and why not? I love writing and co-writing with people. So and also we're in an era where Spotify kind of forces you to release one song per month. They want you to put out music. People want new material, I think, constantly. It's the world we live in, and I don't mind that. So I posted about it recently on social media. I said, I'm going to give you guys one song a month. Why not? I can do it. For now, I can do it. And then I need to focus on my album, on my second album. But yeah, it's been fun. So I'm just doing what I love, Yeah,
it's good you have Ariel, because it seems like you're going to be quite busy and you need him there to help you out.
We're a good team.
Yeah.
We're a good team.
I don't know how she does it, really, because as well as you kind of use two different sides of the brain, I guess, with the creative and the business, and she manages it perfectly. Yeah.
I think, Laura, you have this energy to you that I think is really cool, because you must always have something going on, and it's like, even in your album, it's like you have this great energy to your voice and to your sound. It's like, it's very impressive.
Thank you. I think I'm happier now that I'm in a sunny place with the beach, with the palm trees.
Definitely.
London was hard towards the end, during pandemic and during the winter. It was really hard, and a lot of the songs are quite heartbreaking. The lyrics are quite sad, but the melodies are uplifting, and the music is quite danceable. But yeah, talking about the team with Ariel, I think we complement each other so well. We learn from each other constantly. We inspire each other constantly. We support each other. We've been through a lot together. It's not easy running a business from the ground up, with your own time and effort and money. It's really hard, but it only made us stronger. So yeah, I think we're really happy.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the warm, sunny beaches and your not so happy songs, let's talk about the music video that you put out for True. It's, first of all, I don't mean to laugh, but there are so many parts that are just kind of like, whoa, and it makes you kind of giggle.
That's hair all over. That's Laura all over.
I feel like we've all had that day. Yeah. But it's just such a cool video. Was it shot in Barcelona?
Yeah, in Barceloneta Beach, which is like the main beach here, the most touristic one. It's only 10-minute walk from my house, and I loved it because I feel that cloning myself, it's part of my music. I answer myself when I sing, and I harmonize with myself, and I have afterthoughts that I say back to myself. So I found the only way to do a video, or the only way to do a live show, is to actually clone myself in a live situation and answer to myself, because it's the way I write the songs, and I do it in my acoustic videos, and I try to do it as much as I can.
I love that. If only you could do it in real life, right?
Yeah, well, I'm working on it. I'm working on it to somehow have some videos that, on the live shows that answer to me. And a bit of comedy as well, a bit of looking at myself and going, what did you just say? I think it's going to be hilarious. Yeah, and it's kind of funny and honest and clever. I like that combination. It makes me laugh, and I think it makes people laugh as well.
Yeah, it shows your personality perfectly. It's great. Okay, so in the music video for True, one of the most standout scenes, I think, of the music video, surprisingly, is at the end, where the ball comes and it hits you right in your face. How many takes did that take, and did it actually hit you pretty hard?
Yeah, I mean, you mean this ball here?
Yeah, that's the one.
It did. It was really painful. Yeah, it did hit me. It knocked me out, nearly broke my nose. We had to try it a few times. It was a bit like this, look.
How did that happen? Anyway, let's watch the music video now for True.
Let's.
back in the morning and reconcile. I don't like the way you left no warning and teary-eyed. I know we had something. Tell me, was it all my fault? Now we're done. You never loved me, that you can't deny. You never loved me. You never loved me. You were just playing all along, trying to get the most of me. But why? You never loved me. You know it's true. The minute you felt the need, you started new. It's all about you. You don't really care for other people's hearts. You never loved me. You never loved me. Now I realize I was ignoring the obvious signs. I think I was, I really was. Maybe I should have seen where you were going. It was your time. I know we had something. Tell me, was it all my fault? Now we're done. You never loved me, that you can't deny. You never loved me. You never loved me. You were just playing all along, trying to get the most of me. But why? You never loved me. You know it's true. The minute you felt the need, you started new. You never loved me. It's all about you. You don't really care for other people's hearts. You never loved me. You never loved me. You know I will survive. This feeling will subside. Even the opposite. It still hurts that you were the one that crossed the line. You never loved me, that you can't deny. You never loved me. You never loved me. You were just playing all along, trying to get the most of me. But why? You never loved me. You know it's true. The minute you felt the need, you started new. You never loved me. It's all about you. You don't really care for other people's hearts. You never loved me. You never loved me.
That was an awesome video. And speaking of awesome videos, I'm now going to be speaking with Splash96. Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Glad to be here. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Thanks for being here. So you have a very unique music video that we're going to be showing after we discuss your album a little bit. And in the music video, there are several edits of home movies. So can you tell me a little bit about the concept behind the music video?
Definitely. So, I think today there's kind of this tendency to take for granted home videos because we're all carrying camcorders in our pocket, right?
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case in like the mid 80s, right? Especially in rural Alabama. So my family would actually rent a camcorder. So they'd rent it for like the weekend, and then they would just kind of video themselves acting crazy in the yard or in the house, and they would do kind of these either scripted hee-haw style skits or do their version of 1980s TikTok, where they're doing like backflips in the yard and showing off all the kind of talents they have. So I had all these tapes laying around from the 80s and 90s, and I was afraid something had happened to them. Natural disaster. I'm in Alabama. We get tornadoes all the time. And also tapes can just corrode over time. They can get moldy and if you don't take care of them. So I just wanted a way to preserve them in case anything happened. So I digitized them all. And as I was going through the footage, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of footage of people dancing and playing instruments or pretending to play instruments. And it kind of feels like raw footage from a music video.
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay, I think I've got to make a music video out of this. So that was really the genesis of the project of this song. Was it started music video first? Like, okay, I've got all this incredible video footage. Now I need to make a song to go with it.
Yeah, it's a great song and a great video to go with it. And it's so much fun. You can't help but laugh and smile. So I'm all for it. So your album, which is Summers in Anniston, can you tell me about the album and what other videos and songs are coming out from that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Summers in Anniston, I really just wanted to recapture what it was like growing up in the 90s, like lugging around a giant CD wallet full of all this great music. And you know, for our camcorder in particular, I was influenced by this, by the dance music boom of the 90s, right? So I had this compilation called Ultimate Dance Party 1997, and I loved that album, like just loved it. And there was a track on there called Children by Robert Miles, and it was instrumental. And at the time I was a kid, and I just thought it was a mistake. Like I thought they forgot to turn on the vocal track, and they just accidentally released it without the vocals on. So I always thought it was kind of funny. But then, you know, later on in life, like in college, I started getting into Aphex Twin, and that really kind of cemented the idea of electronic dance, you know, music with a beat, dance music or not, you know, having the ability to be instrumental. Like you didn't have to have a vocalist, you didn't have to have lyrics. You could just let the synthesizer take over that duty for you, and it's just as valid. So that kind of gave me the courage to, you know, do this instrumental album that's influenced by like top 40 songs that all had lyrics and vocalists. So that was kind of that was a launching point for that. And then one of the luckiest things that had happened was I'm a big Spice Girls fan, and one day I finally mustered up the courage to reach out to one of their producers, Andy Watkins, who was part of the team Absolute, who produced, you know, some of their best tracks, you know, Say You'll Be There, Who Do You Think You Are, and then my favorite song of all, which is Last Time Lover. That's like my favorite song, period. So I reached out to him and just basically got the courage to ask him about the synthesizers they were using and the gear they were using. I mean, we got down to talking about equalizers and compressors.
That's really
And he and his partner, Paul Wilson, were both completely forthcoming. So I would say, you know, literally, hey, what bass did you use on Say You'll Be There? And Paul would come back and say, we used an Ovation bass station. And they would give, you know, additional details about some of the production. So I blatantly stole from that Absolute sound that they did for the Spice Girls for this album. And I'm, you know, eternally grateful that they were forthcoming with all their secrets. But, you know, that was a big part of it. And really kind of, you know, overall with the album, I didn't want it to just sound like Ultimate Dance Party 97. I didn't want it to just sound like Spice Girls. So there's kind of like all the different memories of growing up in the 90s kind of baked in there, including some 80s stuff, because 80s music didn't just stop in 1989. Like you continue to buy the greatest hits CDs, like I had Madonna's Immaculate Collection. So there's some Madonna influence on there.
Yeah.
And then there's also things that are influenced from, you know, Janet Jackson's work with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and, you know, some Rick James and Nile Rodgers, of course. So there's kind of like, you know, 70s, 80s, and 90s are all represented in some way in this album by design. But I really just wanted it to all, it's cohesive in the sense that it just reminds me of the different kind of music I was listening to at the time, and frankly still do. I mean, all that music I just listed is still in heavy rotation on my iTunes.
Yeah, you can definitely hear the influence in the album, and I think that's fantastic that, you know, hearing the backstory of how you were able to obtain such vital information into the making of your tracks in the album. That's so cool. And I think it's really cool to pull from inspiration, especially when you're making music, but kind of make it your own. And I think your album definitely does that.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that. You know, that's something I fought with for the longest time. You know, I always hated the idea of being inspired by anything. You know, when you're starting out, you want to be unique. You want to be your own thing. And I finally just got myself over that and said, you know what? You've got all these influences, embrace them, lean into them. And then you're not going to be able to perfectly emulate any of them because you're trying to emulate all of them. So by nature, this Frankenstein approach is going to be unique. And I do feel that, you know, listening to Summers in Anniston, I don't think it sounds like Ultimate Dance Party 97. I don't think it sounds like Spice Girls or Madonna. I think it sounds like all those things jumbled together, and this is what came out. So when I hear it, I do kind of hear a unique voice. So
Yeah.
I would encourage anyone that's kind of going through that same struggle of like, you know, no, this sounds too much like that, and I want to be unique. Just get over it. Just kind of embrace it, lean into it, you know, and in some cases, even try to sound like the people you love, because that is personal. You know, it's the thing about it that is personal is the fact that you love it. So that's wrapped into your personality.
Yeah, exactly. So when you were lugging around your CD case back in the 90s, did you ever like let somebody borrow a CD and then you kind of have to track them down and get your CDs back and stuff like that? And for that matter, did you ever make a CD of your own? And when did you start getting into your own music? Did you ever pass out a CD to anybody?
Oh, definitely. So, you know, the letting friends borrow CDs and then kind of having to nag them, that was a common thing. And it went the other way. Plenty of friends had to nag me to get their CDs back. I had a friend who got big into the Beatles, and he would let me borrow like Sgt. Pepper's, and then, you know, like 2 weeks later he's like, hey, can I have that back now? It's like, oh yeah, that's not mine. So that definitely happened. In terms of, you know, releasing the own CDs, I started off, music was kind of like something I did on the side as passion, and I wanted to be the great filmmaker, right? So kind of completely counterintuitive to what Splash 96 is. I was trying really hard to be serious, important filmmaker, man. And that blew up in my face, and it didn't work out. And I kind of realized it didn't work out, and I wasn't happy doing it. So, you know, after several months of thinking long and hard about it, I just sold all my film production gear and just realized that music kind of matched my personality more and was more of something I ended up enjoying more. So I kind of, you know, lunged right into that. And then for the past several years, I've just been teaching myself, you know, basic music theory and how to play these instruments and, you know, mixing music, you know, all those kind of things take time. So this is really my first proper release. And yes, absolutely, I would love to one day release this on compact disc. But right now I'm at the stage where I need to get the demand up before I start getting physical media published. But I do hope that eventually that's going to happen, because this album was meant for compact disc. That's my intended format for it. So right now we're kind of like, it's streaming now, but if enough people get into it, hopefully we can get into that physical release so I can have that tangible CD.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, let's go ahead and play your music video for Our Camcorder from your album, Summers in Anniston.
There is the music. Goodbye.
Now that was a super cool music video. Next in line, I have the incredible Megan McDuffie. She does soundtracks, awesome music videos, and everything else in the musical world. So let's bring in Megan McDuffie. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Oh, I like your cool coat. Nice and sparkly, very prom.
Yes, I figured, prom, I should wear something a little disco-y.
A little disco-y. So we have a lot to cover here in 10 minutes. So first question I do want to ask you is, how was your personal prom?
My actual physical prom was actually really good. I went with one of my best friends who was later my boyfriend. So we just had an awesome time. It was at, I believe, the Fairmont in San Francisco, downtown. And yeah, I mean, nothing like too crazy happened. Nothing super awful happened. It was just a nice, nice fun evening of dancing and being 18.
That's really cool. It looks like you had a marvelous time. But since we've been doing the prom episode, I've been talking to a lot of people about how their prom was, and each of them seemed to have like a really bad story or a horror story. So yeah, I guess it's I think the John Hughes movies, we all kind of like got captured by the idea that it's going to be the best day ever. Well, unless you're old, it's kind of funky. But when you get to your prom, it's just not as magical. It's not as cinematic. But speaking of cinematic, I do want to show a video that you have your music in, a movie. Let's take a look at that.
Descendants of these people are still living up there on the mountain?
They said they would be the foundation on which a new nation would be built.
From every mound, let freedom ring.
Wow. If that's the wrong turn, I like to turn there because the music is incredible. So that is your music in the soundtrack. Is that correct?
Yeah, I co-wrote and co-produced the trailer music that you heard there, and sound design, that kind of stuff. Not all the sound design, but just like sometimes in trailer music, it's really hard to differentiate between what the sound editor does after the fact and the music, because a lot of the music is creepy and mangled and just like.
So it's all blended together. Crazy. Yeah. My phone went off. I apologize for that. So I know you did like music in the movie Annihilation as well, which was one of my favorite sci-fi. I would say almost horror. That's a wonderful song. Wonderful movie. And how did you get into the whole business of the horror genre and all of that?
Funny story. I was always kind of apprehensive about horror as a youngster. I didn't really even see a horror movie until high school. I was pretty sheltered.
You're late. You're late.
I was late. I was so late. I was always very curious, but just very sensitive. But the more creepy stuff I watched, the less sensitive I got, and now I just can't get enough. I love horror movies. I love everything creepy. As you can see, my little friend back here. But as far as trailers specifically, it was just kind of one of those things. I have a film scoring degree. I wanted to be a film composer, still do want to do films, in addition to video games and stuff. And I have done a few. But trailers was just another thing that I was like, okay, this is related. I have a film scoring degree. I have an orchestration focus. I have an electronic music minor. Put it all together. To make a music career, you kind of have to just do as many things as possible and see what sticks. So that's what I've been doing.
So for the audience, maybe you've watched a movie and you didn't know, but Megan McDuffie's music is blasting in the background while someone is getting murdered, which is always fun. Now, speaking of murders and creepy stuff, I know you do a podcast called Creepy Podcast. Is that the correct name?
Creepy Pod, yeah.
Creepy Pod. So tell me about that.
So, as I mentioned, I'm into horror stuff and all things spooky. I also love to read and I love fiction. So I just one day happened across this podcast and fell in love with it, and eventually reached out to the creator, or the guy who runs and operates it, and I said, hey, I do a lot of voice stuff and I love your podcast. Do you need any narrators? And he was like, yeah. After a while, they brought me on board, and I narrate a podcast episode for their patrons and for the public twice a month.
Awesome. Is there any way we can hear your voice narrating something really quick in that creepy podcast kind of voice?
Oh, it's pretty much just my natural voice, except a little more breathy and drawn out and emotional emphasis on things when I'm terrified.
Excellent. Now that takes me to our next section of something that's very, has voices that are almost like that. The video game, River City Girls. Now, that's a cool ass game. Like, I got it on my Xbox. Game Pass had it. I downloaded it. I picked the girl with the orange hair because I thought she was gonna be. I thought she was gonna be the tougher one because she has a baseball bat. But then the other one seems to be the one with the bigger attitude, the girl with the black hair.
Yeah, she's very no nonsense, very apathetic, and Kyoko is all happy and sunshine and can't we be friends?
Exactly. So tell me about that really quick.
Well, that was an amazing project. They were the dream client in that they hired me for me. They were like, we love your sound, just do that all over this game. And it was so cool. When they first hired me, they didn't really even know I was a vocalist either. So it came out pretty quickly, though, that I was a classically trained singer and did vocal stuff as well. And they were like, we have this rock star character in the game. How cool would it be if her music was playing throughout the video game as you're playing through these levels? So in every time you hear a vocal song that I produced in there, you will see a little boombox in the scene somewhere, so that it's like the rock star character noise. It's like her tunes are playing through the boombox.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Well, before we run out of time, we need to definitely talk about your newest music video. So, Wicked Things. So I see you have some cool, scary appeal there with a lot of incredible dance moves as well. Tell us the story behind the video and the song.
Well, the song, I don't know how much I want to reveal, honestly, but I, as do all of us, struggle with desire versus morality versus, just like having weird thoughts in my head and then feeling guilty about them later. So this song is kind of using demonic possession as a metaphor for those internal struggles. So a lot of it is, I fell in love with pole and exotic dance a few years ago, and was like, okay, what can I do in my living room during a pandemic with no budget? Like, how can I pull this off? And so I'm lucky that my husband is a hobby photographer. We have a really nice camera, and I kind of roped him in. I was like, hey, we're going to shoot this thing. And then I actually got a fan who wanted to edit and do the graphics and stuff for free, which was incredible. Because he's like, I need more portfolio building stuff instead of working on corporate videos.
We got to give a shout out to that editor. Great job. And really quickly, is there anything you'd like to tell your fans really quick? Because we're going to have to play the music video soon.
Yeah, check out my new album. I've been producing, scores and doing vocals and all of that jazz for almost a decade. And this is my first debut full-length vocal album in all of that time. So it's like, yes, finally it's out. It's called Inner Demons. Go check it out. It's everywhere. I'm doing a vinyl campaign on Bandcamp. So if you go on there and you want vinyl, please do pledge to make it happen.
Awesome. And with that, this is Wicked Things.
try to silence you inside my head. You're the voice that makes me writhe when I'm abed. How you split me with your cunning every time while you have fed. You're the voice that colors my entire world in red. Wish I could have chosen, but you always win. I can feel you in my bones. I'll never be alone. Fight tooth and nail to stop your surfacing. All the while as I protest, I relish your behest. Surrendering, I wanna be a wicked thing. I have moments of clarity, but they're few and far between. You're the voice that pushes cravings so obscene. How you burn me nice and slowly, pulling tight as any wire. You're the voice that fills me raw with blind desire. Wish I could have chosen, but you always win. I can feel you in my bones. I'll never be alone. Fight tooth and nail to stop your surfacing. All the while as I protest, I relish your behest. Surrendering, I wanna be a wicked thing. I don't want to, do I need to? Easier just to give in. You're the voice that keeps my defense paper thin. How you grip me with your visions. You're the voice that cuts a grin. All is red now as you swallow me in sin. Wish I could have chosen, but you always win. I can feel you in my bones. I'll never be alone. Fight tooth and nail to stop your surfacing. All the while as I protest, I relish your behest. Surrendering, I wanna be a wicked thing. Wicked thing, a wicked thing, a wicked thing. I wanna be a wicked thing.
Okay, that was a great video. And now I'm going to be speaking with one half of Sentient Robot. I'm going to be speaking with Nat. So let's bring Nat from Sentient Robot on the show.
Hello. Hiya.
Oh, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm good. It's actually a nice day in Manchester in the UK. So that's if you know Manchester at all, that's quite a rare thing. So it's all happy here.
I've never been, but that's very lovely. I'd love to visit sometime.
You
So
should.
I would love to. So Nat, tell me about Sentient Robot and how did you get started with this group, with this duo, if you will?
Yeah, well, it's I mean the writing partnership is a duo. It's me and Steve, who's our guitarist and producer, plays lots of different instruments. Talented bloke. We sort of met through playing in various sort of bands, and over time I sort of like had some songs and lyrics and ideas. I brought them to Steve, and Steve helped me work them up. And we just got more and more sort of into the production of it, the ideas behind what we were trying to achieve, going with that sort of, mixing in the real instruments with, retro synths and sort of new production values and things like that, which Steve's
Yes.
really hot on.
Cool. It's such a cool sound and a great style. I love
Thank you.
it. And the name Sentient Robot is very unique as well. Can you tell me about the name and how you came up with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a sort of theme in lots of songs. Well, not all the songs, but just looking at the way that almost humans sort of become more and more programmed by computers in the way that we behave, algorithms in sort of social media, and even down to your traffic lights and the way that you sort of almost funneled through supermarkets and things like that by various different computers. And then alongside that, the idea of computers becoming more and more sentient, sort of almost being designed to fool you that they're humans. So we sort of crossed over in sort of talking, those songs where I'll be talking about people that I've come across that have seemed like almost in the grip of algorithms and how that plays out in life. So that's the theme behind it. I suppose we push it off into some of the imagery that we use, and it's just a fun thing to play around with.
Yeah, it's definitely a concept that there's a lot to be said about. And so when it inspires music, of course, it's nice to see that as well.
Yeah, and you sort of, I mean, it's sort of, we sometimes take it off into sort of darker sort of commentary about politics and how there's, well, I mean, I don't know how you feel about how elections go over in the US, but in the UK, just at least a few elections that seem to have been driven by these kind of forces and influences. And there's a few songs in there that sort of look at that and challenge people to just pull back from that, become more human, become encouraging people to become more human when they are. But yeah,
we don't want to lose sight of what it is to be, our human selves in this technological world that we live in, our media-based world,
Yeah.
So this, the music video that we're going to be showing after we have a chat from the outset, can you tell me about the concept of that song and how that song was written? Did you write the song to have a video, or did you just come up with the concept for the video?
No, I mean, lyric-wise, that I originally wrote that song a long time ago, and put it into various different sort of melodies, and sort of it's had a different life, never quite worked, and then sort of Steve made it work. Steve gave it this sort of different feel that I mean, there's a mixture of sort of feeling light and bouncy and a great beat and rhythm section provided by Pete Marshall, our drummer, and Sam Morris, our bass player. So it's it's got a real sort of like dancey feel to it, but then there's some quite sensitive and sort of I don't know, almost when I look back on it, I can see a turmoil of a younger man trying to work out pressures of almost like forced upon spirituality and constructs in society that make you that tell you have to be in a certain way and you have to go down a certain path, and you've got to stop doing that and do more of this. I was probably being told to stop doing music. That was probably what was it's essentially at a certain point you should really go and get a real job or something like that. And I have done that, and I have I've continued to do music. But that idea of whatever you do, you've got to do it your own way and find your own path. That's really important to your own mental health, well-being, sense, the sense of who you are. So that was lyrically where it was. And when we worked with found a great animator, Darren Mowenpour, who sort of worked on the video, I had a different video in mind, and that wasn't possible because of the pandemic. So we went out to find an animator instead, and I couldn't have been sort of happier with how he worked with the concepts and the themes that I gave him loosely, and a bit of an understanding of what the lyrics meant. But I asked him very much to go his own way with the way that he produced it. So yeah, all of those sort of ideas, the sort of journey, taking different directions. I think there's a few sort of nods to Talking Heads in there, with the person moving along. That's me, sort of animated into the
yeah.
So we did some off takes. So it was quite creative. It's brilliant. I feel he's got, as an animator, he's got some very Wes Anderson kind of feel of textures, the way he moves you through. I love it.
Cool. It's a very
watch it over and over.
Yeah, it's a super cool video.
Yeah.
It's a great song too. So are you working on any new tracks and music with Sentient Robot?
Yeah, I mean, we again paused because we sort of do a lot remotely in terms of building the songs. We don't actually, unlike a lot of bands, it's not uncommon, but we sort of worked, all of Sentient Robot tracks have been almost worked in two people or one or two people, and then sometimes remotely. But then towards the end of the process, we get together and we start to sort of add in some different weirder kind of instruments. So there's a glockenspiel in your own way to give it that sort of like, that's a sort of Pete's as a drummer, sort of adding sort of different top lines and a sax line that sort of gives it that mixture of the retro and more up-to-date sort of production values. But yeah, so we've been just sort of pausing on all of the recording ideas that we had, or any songs that were almost complete in some ways, and now we're just back into the studio. So there's a sort of collection of about, I don't know, 6 or 7 songs. You're from the outset, Your Own Way will probably join the EP, and a couple of other songs that we're just remixing and mastering. So hopefully, we pull our fingers out now, back end of this year we'll be sort of releasing that EP and getting back to some live dates as well along the way. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more from what you're doing with Sentient Robot. I think it's fantastic. So
thanks very much.
Thank you for being on the show, Nat. And with that, I would love to show the music video of From the Outset, Your Own Way by Sentient Robot.
Let's go for the soul. A toast to my bedtime fill of a twisted fate. In the room of a faithless man, you can stoke that fire. wicked game for some careless men to play. And from the outset of his plan, he seems to know where he was going. He never wanted to see this play. He only wanted to see the world in his own way. Kill for the scourge, and then fathers fell to end in a closing scene. No cliff to hang from here. It's a curious time. It's a furious path to climb. It's a testing wait. There's no more wasting time. And from the outset of his plan, he seems to know where he was going. He never wanted to see this play. He only wanted to see the world in his own way. And from the outset of your life, they need to know where you are going. Keep trying someday to see it clearly. Keep trying someday to see the world in your own way. Let's go for the soul. A toast to my bitter fill of a twisted faith in the rule of a faithless man. And from the outset of his plan, he seems to know where he was going. He never wanted to see this play. He only wanted to see the world his own way. And from the outset of your life, they need to know where you are going. Keep trying someday to see it clearly. Keep trying someday to see the world your own way.
Up next is going to be the prom, the main event. Stay tuned because we have so many amazing music videos. We have an interview, we have an ending performance, and extra stuff along the way. So we're super excited. I have to go and get changed into my prom dress right now.